Okay, so I'm putting up a video on how to install the 47-inch snowblower onto the X540 tractor. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, the first step that I do, you'll notice I don't have the snowblower anywhere near, is because I don't need to yet. I'm going to install this bracket here, which is going to be what the snowblower mounts to. The first thing I'm going to do is attach this rod. There's a hole here that's going to line up with this hole on the tractor bracket right there. So that's where that's going to go, and then the next step will be to install the linkage. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, step number one, we're going to install the rod. You'll notice that this tire here has been turned so that I can get the rod in there. Otherwise, as you can tell, if the tire was pointed forward, you're not going to get the rod through the assembly. Okay, here we go. Put it in. So this fits in between the brackets mounted to the tractor. Okay. Goes in on the other side. Okay. And then it's just, I'm going to rotate the tire really quickly so I can get the cotter pin in place. Gives my hands a bit more room to put it in. Okay, that's step number one done. Okay, step number two is going to be to install this linkage, which is going to be the link that actually lifts and lowers the snowblower. So this end here will attach to this bracket right here. So let's do that first. You'll notice I keep all my cotter pins in place for winter storage. It's easier that way. The pin goes through the back. Now let's get that started first. Okay. It's tricky finding these holes. Okay, here we go. Cotter goes back in place. Then one end down. Okay, still on step number two, and we're going to do the opposite end now, which is here, and it attaches to this slotted connection right here. So again, I remove the cotter ring that's holding it in place. Pin comes out. Okay, then you have to lift up the bracket so the slot lines up. Of course, the pin goes behind, so it's a bit awkward at first. Okay, and then put the pin in place. Okay, and now the bracket, you'll notice, is standing up on its own because it's held back by the linkage and where we pinned it in step one. Okay, step number three, before I move it in place against the snowblower, so I'm going to attach the weights that are down here. And I use all four weights in the winter time, give me a little bit more traction. To do so, if you had this set up by John Deere, initially they would have had a bolt here, and they may have a bolt right here as well. 4 suitcase weights do not fit between the two bolts, so I removed this one. I left this one in place to protect this pull-out bar here, which will allow you to engage or disengage the transaxle. Okay, so here we go. Again, step number three, installing the suitcase weights. I'm going to bump that right up against the bolt. And again, we put 4 in place. And just for reference, these things are 40 pounds each. And there we go. Okay, before we move the tractor into place and actually attach it, I just want to talk to you guys about storage. This unit has been used now for 2 winters, and you'll see that it looks brand new. There is no rust on the actual body of it. One thing I do here is there's a 2x4 that I always rest the snowblower on after every use. So when it's attached to the snowblower, I just drop it down onto those 2x4s. Keeps it away from the water, which always collects underneath from the snow. Okay, I think we're on step number 4, which is we're going to move the tractor in place up against the snowblower, and all I'm going to suggest is you take your time to make sure you get it centered properly, and it'll save you a lot of time when you're trying to attach the bracket to the snowblower. Okay. See, my little jack Russells are in the way. I think they will move. Now, normally you could drive your tractor in place. I'm pushing it because I don't want a bunch of fumes in my enclosed garage. Okay. Let's take a look, see where I'm at. So we're almost dead on centered, so we'll push it forward a little bit more. Okay, and I'll do the final adjustments in the next step. Okay, step number 5, we're going to be looking at the attachment of the snowblower to the tractor bracket. So the first thing I did is that for winter storage, I put my belt in here, so I moved it out of the way. I'm going to be lifting up the snowblower and with my left hand rotating the front tire so that it gets engaged with the pin onto the slot. Simple as that. So you see how the pin is up against there, drop it straight down, and it should be pretty close to engaging. There we go. Okay, just want to talk about step 5 briefly. We've already moved the pin on here, but one thing I forgot to mention was to be able to do that, these pins had to have been disengaged. So you have to pull them back and lock them in place. So if I pull it back and lock it, this small pin is in that outer slot, and that will make sure that when I put this on this assembly onto the slotted connection, this pin isn't bumping up and interfering at the bottom of the plate. Okay, so we're on step number 6 here. We just finished step 5, which is putting the pin and engaging it into the slot. Make sure the pin is fully bottomed out in the slot. Otherwise, these lower pins, which is step 6, are not going to fit into their mating holes. Okay, so this is simple. You just simply disengage this from the slot. So you pull it back a little bit, rotate it, push it in. Now I'm engaged with the hole at the bottom. You do the same on the opposite side. One thing I want to talk to you about is I had to fiddle with this a little bit before this step so that the hole lined up. Basically, my pin wasn't bottomed out here. So I just removed the piece of wood under the snowblower, which allowed it to lower and the pin engaged. Okay, step number 8 is going to be installing the drive belt. So from the snowblower to the drive pulley on the tractor. Now this here, if you can see it, is your tensioner pulley. That has to be pushed back so it loosens up the belt, and so that allows you to actually attach it to the drive pulley, which we'll do shortly. Handy dandy trick. Let's take a 2x4, just put it in here, and it just locks it and keeps it in place. So here's step number 8, just continuing it. I've locked in the tensioner pulley. I'm going to go underneath right now. So I just prefer going under on this side here. Okay, so we're going to be putting the belt onto our main drive pulley. Now I've got the tensioner already engaged, so it should be fairly easy to get this on. Just, put it on and rotate this just a hair, and it should slip right in place. Okay, and then if you can continue to the front, I'm just going to remove the 2x4 here. Okay, and then you see this tensioner pulley pulled back and the belt is tight. Okay, here we are at step number 9. It's our last step. I'm going to be attaching these controllers here to this brass arm here. These control the chute, the rotation, and the angle that it comes out. And a simple matter of attaching this to this bracket right here. So first, I'm just going to remove this and that. Okay. So there's a hole in a slot here. The slot goes over this bolt or this screw head. You never have to remove this. It's just a guide. That's all it's there for. And the other one fits into the hole. So I'm just going to remove the bolt. Okay, so you see how it's sitting the slot and the bolt are sitting in there. So if I can get my hand back here. Okay, adjust bolt. There's a square part that locks in at the back. Okay. Put this back on. And we're done with step number 9. Now just to tell you, to show you what this does, this rotates the auger, okay, and this controls the head of the auger right there. And we're done our installation of the snowblower onto the X540. Okay, so we've just finished installing the snowblower onto the X540. Now I'm going to make sure it works. So I'm going to start up the tractor. It's a cold start, so it might take a couple turns of the key to get it going. I'm going to lift up the snowblower with the hydraulics and then back it up. You can stop the video. Okay, here we go.